when we talk about their win-loss ratio. A 19-13 team up against a 19-13 team. Their goals for, their goals against, +1 for the Hornets, +4 for the Wendigos. This is going to be a barn burner. This is where you wish RSC had that best-of-5 series, but they've only got 4 games between the two of them to determine who's the better team on match day 9.
Hey, we can root for it to be a close series, root for it to be at least 2-2 at the end of it, just the highest level that we can hope for. We've got Visionary 1 out here on the pitch for the, which team is he on? I can't remember. I didn't look hard enough. The Wendigos in the orange. But he's also telling us that he feels like they're 13-9, not 13-19, not 19-13. So who knows? It just, it could be, they could both be 13-19. But regardless, they are looking like very evenly matched teams. Team stats here all looking very solid across the board. Lots of really high shooting percentages for the Hornets, which is always something very impressive to see, especially at this elite level. These players, sitting around the GC1, right? GC1, like GC2 these days? I don't know. I've been out of RSC for a little bit, but around there in that block. So, players that know what they're doing and know how to rotate, know how to shoot. So we get to kind of skip all of that foundational stuff that we see in some of the lower stuffs like we saw in the Challenger matchup on Monday, where the rotational stuff, the foundational stuff is always so much fun to watch. But these guys now, we get to take that step up. We get to see all of those, the flashy plays come out, the communication, the team passes, maybe some demo plays, some physicality coming out for either of these teams. But I'm really excited to see what they've got here. I've got no idea what either of these teams are capable of, so I'm coming into this with fresh eyes, and I'm hoping that we get a great series.
These are really two different teams who are finding success in dramatically different ways. We gotta look at the Hornets. We gotta look at Dom. 29 goals already on the season, 59 saves. Alone has more goals, assists, and saves than every other player on the Wendigos. So we know we're looking at a team that has one phenomenal player who is definitely starting their case for MVP conversations as we get later on in the season in RSC. For the Wendigos, we don't see that standout player, but we see an overall very well-rounded team. Now, we do need to find them, to find some sort of way, if you will, to take that team play to the next level. I think the big difference between these two teams, and you can all see it on stream right now, is shooting percentage. The worst shooting percentage right now on the Hornets, 34.78. The worst shooter on their team is at 35% right now, HUD. That's totally ridiculous. I honestly cannot believe that. When you're talking about this GC1 level of play, if you see a 30% roughly shooting percentage, that's pretty darn good. 35% is approaching ridiculous.
Yeah, and to have 4 players at 36, like you said, is just madness. We've got 5 minutes on the clock and 6 players ready to go here. It is going to be a tough-fought series between these two teams, and the Wendigos in the orange, consisting of Denz, A-Grab, and Super. In the blue, the Hornets, Salty Bonner, Dom, and Nitro. Denz is going to get the first goal of the series for the Wendigos here. It's a great redirect. He's been the only person to touch the ball in an orange car, and he just finds that close angle. 1-0 for the Wendigos.
And that's how things get started right now. A 1-0 quick lead here in favor of the Forest franchise, the Wendigos. And it's Denz, the GM of that team, who makes that first goal happen. And yes, teams, we do know exactly what's going on the stream. We brought you right back into it just in time to find a second goal as Super beats Dom. And HUD, I hate to say it, but I think we are seeing somewhat of an upset in the first 30 seconds of this match. Good to get out like a house on fire and just make something happen.
24 seconds in, there's still time for these guys to be able to get it back under control, so nothing too crazy yet. No no reason to panic if you are a Hornet supporter, as Dom is going to put this one in the backboard, almost tucks it underneath, so a couple more good looks. Nitro, again off the crossbar, Salty will be there to put it across, and just like that, lead cut to 1. Hornets, you know, they're a little slow starting out, but the smoke is cleared a little bit. The insects are beginning to wake up here. The Hornets find themselves there first, 45 seconds in, another kickoff. Dom will be there. A-Grab meets some Dens there, pounds it right back into the blue end. An opportunity here, steals the corner boost. Nitro's gonna have the clearance, super right back into the blue end, and Dom will meet it. Another touch. Dom following it, can't find it. He's gonna fake that one. We'll call it a fake at least. A-Grab and Dens double commit, and a rotational bump from Dom on the way out, but A-Grab doing a great job holding that possession all the way across, probably saving a goal from the Hornets, but not able to get anything going on the other end. Still a 2-1 scoreline here. Wendigos riding the momentum that they had early on. A-Grab, a long shot will be just off frame, and it is going to be ripped back in by Den. Super is there, finally able to break through on a great offensive progression. Wendigos at 3 minutes and 33 seconds find their third goal.
Kind of feel for Dom right there. They're just trying to clear the ball downfield and do anything they can to keep it a little bit tight to the wall and just get it out of the way. Instead, their touch just decides to pop right back out to midfield. A relatively easy goal for the Wendigos to that 3-1 lead, and certainly a different pace of play, HUD, than we have seen in the first matchup that we have, going from veteran to elite. I mean, it's just one tier in RSC, but the pace of play, the skill of play, the style of play from one tier to the next at this level really starts to ramp up pretty quickly. We've got 3 minutes left to go in this game. Only 2 minutes have been played. 4 goals already in. An opportunity there for Nitro. If they don't find it, it goes the other way. That one's on target as well. It's Dumb with the backflip kick save. The shot's on target. A-Grab is going to end up getting the goal steal by nature of parallel parking into the net. They've passed their driver's test. They score the 4th goal.
And it's tough to see all 3 defenders for the Hornets, I mean, past the box, almost at midfield, just because they're trying to find a little bit of boost to get back and be in a productive spot down hit or defensively. So definitely not a great rotational play there from the Hornets, but they look to get it right back. A-Grab makes the save on Salty Bonner's shot, but still looking to break through here are the Hornets. They've got that one, they've got a few shots on frame, so definitely not outclassed here, but the threat of the opportunities from Wendigos has just been a cut above the Hornets so far. Still just under half of this game left to play, and Nitro's gonna punch it through. The lead now to 2 for the Hornets. They're starting to close it back in. Dens just couldn't quite find that touch. Salty aggressively positioned, and Nitro jams it home.
I mean, I know, HUD, you and I were looking at the same exact stats coming into this game, right? We know the offensive power that Dom, Salty Bonner, and Nitro have together for this Hornet squad. They have no problem scoring at will. It's just the Wendigos got out to such a big lead, and sometimes when you go down quickly early in a game, it's very difficult to really figure out how to adjust and how to not just panic rush the ball constantly and to play the game that you need to play. I think late in this game, they've gotten a little bit warmed up. They've kind of thrown the stream jitters away from themselves, and now it's getting to the point where they are starting to figure out how to play a little bit better. That one by A-Grab goes off the crossbar. Dens is going to find the post. A-Grab will find the back of the net. Good answer from the Wendigos. They gave up 2 goals to the Hornets, but right here at the 92nd mark, there's a 3-goal lead after that 5th goal. A-Grab getting credit.
Yeah, it's a great put away from A-Grab. Dens forcing the issue, gets a 3rd assist. Dens the facilitator for his team here, just as he is the facilitator for the entire franchise as the GM. And it is continuing to be a tough-fought series here. Wendigos, the underdogs, if we believe, or maybe not the underdogs, maybe a little bit more of the favorites. Pardon me, I know who has what record. but the Hornets are going to cut that lead back to 2. 1:12 left on the clock. This is a great answer from them. Salty puts it in the backcourt. Dom, who else but Dom, to slot that one just inside that right post. And the Hornets continue to just sting the Wendigos bit by bit, and sometimes it is that death by 1,000 cuts or 1,000 stings here. In the case of the Hornets, that is the path to victory. They've got to find 2 more with 60 seconds left on the clock. This is a good start for them. Even with Salty being demoed, they're going to be on the forecheck, trying to find the 50. A-Grab past 1. Nitro will turn to Shadow, leaves it for Salty Bonner, gets that challenge all the way through. Super with a whip, but A-Grab takes Nitro off the pitch. He was going to be the one to find the shot. 45 seconds left in time. Not in favor of the Hornets here. They've got to start finding some offensive opportunities quickly if they don't want to be up against a wall to score the equalizer late. Another soft clear from Dom is going to be caught by Den. Salty Bonner keeps it in the orange end. A-Grab all the way up. Nitro can't win the 50, back in the blue end. A-Grab will be there with possession, and what could be the end of this game here is just more time bleeds away. Wendigos looking like they're going to close this one out.
In the corner here, it's Dom grabbing control with 10 seconds left to go in this 2-goal deficit in game number 1 of this 4-game set between the two squads. Nitro beaten by Dens. It's Super looking for the double off the backboard. They had it on target. The save was there right at the end of the game from Nitro to make it so it wasn't a double up opportunity, a 6-3 victory. Instead, Wendigos take Hornets down in a 5-3 victory. Now looking at that stat line, Wendigos kind of coming into this game, the quote-unquote underdogs, if you will. I mean, I don't really feel like they're underdogs coming into this game, but I mean, you know, we talked about productive losses coming into this matchup, HUD. That's what we saw in that first matchup. This doesn't look like a productive loss. This looks like a loss where you feel like you could have won if 1 or 2 things went your way instead. I definitely expect that the Hornets come back in game number 2 and they come out with a splash. They come out immediately the same way that they started playing in the last 2 minutes of that game number 1.
Absolutely. I mean, it was that slow start that really put Wendigos on the front foot through that game number 1. So Hornets came out a little bit sleepy, a little bit just not quite ready to fight for it. So it is now those 2 goals that they let in at the beginning were the difference in the game at the very end of it. So it's up to Hornets to have a better start here in game number 2, which we're getting right into. 6 players on the pitch again, another 5 minutes, no substitutions made. So running it back, both these squads, the Hornets looking to try to find themselves a little bit of a better start. They had the first opportunity downfield, but it's immediately cut out by Dens. Going to turn it back the other way. Super on the receiving end of that clear, winning a touch here. Wendigos looking to find the first goal, but Nitro clears it away, stands tall in their box. Salty Bonner can't handle this one, and the Wendigos are going to set up shop yet again. Centering ball from Den forces the own goal, and the Wendigos strike first yet again.
Look at this one. Past Salty Bonner, and Dens is going to win this 50 with Dom in the corner, floats right in front of the net, and A-Grab is happy to just help out with this play. Now, Dens gets credited for the goal. Why or how? I don't really know, but I'm not Psyonix, I'm not the game. Especially with a brand new season in Rocket League that just started today, I feel like everything is nothing all at once. Salty Bonner getting beaten by Dens. This one goes the other way. They look for the approach here, and Dom will cut it out in their own backfield, chasing it out to midfield, hard off the sidewall. Bonner and Nitro both up. A double commit here defensively. Duck down into the corner. Here's Nitro getting dunked by A-Grab, who was already shown in 1 game and a minute what they are able to do. This one crosses the face of the net, does not quite go. Now Dom going the other way. A great low 50 with Super. Dens will cut this one off. Salty on the back wall. Denied by Dens in front for Nitro. That one's over the top of them. A rough clear here right now, HUD, for the Hornets, trying to get this one out of their own zone so far. Have not had the boost, the momentum, the angle, or really the gameplay to get this one away from their own net. A-Grab will throw it off backboard. That one will not go. Dens tries the same thing, and the crossbar saves the day yet again.
Yeah, I think it really is just because Dens is in the pay-to-win, the new rocket pass car here, the Rolls Royce that Psyonix has decided is going to follow up the potato from Season 6. Dens continues to get it done, though. Just continuing to see the GM still has it in chat. Dens has absolutely put his team, his franchise on his back here. A 2-goal lead for the Wendigos again in this game number 2. They have been dominant. They've really shut down what has seemed to be a strong offensive attack through the beginning of the season of the Hornets, and they're just been blank through 2 games. They've really not been able to get anything going. And meanwhile, the Wendigos have continued to just shove the ball down their throats. Dens is going to look to get another opportunity here off the sidewall, but Nitro will turn it away. And I really think it's this midfield game that has been the difference maker for the Wendigos, giving them all the opportunities to find shots in on the blue end while simultaneously keeping Hornets from being able to generate anything productive of their own. But as I say that, Salty Bonner is going to roll it across, cut the lead in half just before halftime, and again, almost a carbon copy of game number 1.
All right, 2 things. First of all, this shot is absolutely ridiculous. There was literally 1 ball's width of area of the net that goal could have been scored, and that's exactly where the ball went. That was incredible. Big shout out to Salty Bonner for making that one happen. The second thing, the thing I love the most about RSC is any single day, any single thing can happen. Whatever team decides to show up and play the best that day is what we see happen. The stats that we were talking about coming into this game, that doesn't tell the entire story. The Wendigos came in, you look at their stat line, you go, okay, this isn't a bad team. The Hornets, this isn't a bad team, but we kind of expected the Hornets to win just based on the way that the stats looked. And nothing so far, HUD. This series has looked like the stats did. Wendigos right now up 2-1 in this game with 1 minute and 50 seconds left to play. They're up 1-0 in this series as well. And Nitro tries to pass it in front of the net. There's no one there to receive it. He'll clear out the other way. Salty knocks it down in midfield. Dom is a little bit far back. Here's A-Grab on the offense. Nitro will come in, clear that one out. Dom, a slight shot is going to go on target. Super will be there for the save, and Hornets trying to pick up the pace in the last 90 seconds of this game. Find a victory, even up the series at 1 apiece.
Continuing the knock on the door here at the Hornets, but they're really forcing things. They're trying to put opportunities where there's no opportunity to do so, but they really haven't been able to quite find that one touch, the final touch they need in the attacking third. And it has been the opposite problem for the Wendigos. Everything that they put on frame is turned to gold. 60 seconds left on the clock. Super is going to rifle this one in. A little bit of a giveaway from Nitro, and Salty Bonner just can't quite squeeze that one out. An exact 1 minute left here in game number 2, and the Wendigos are continuing to look very strong. And, we looked at the stats beforehand, and obviously the Hornets have got a great attack, but it has been the defense that has really kind of bitten them in the rear here, not quite able to get it done. The Bumblebee is the creature that cannot sting or else it dies, but here it has kind of been the opposite. The Hornets not unable to score, but really not able to defend themselves particularly well, and getting beaten in by the Wendigos.
Any given Monday or Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, as we say here in RSC, can a team make it work? A great shot on target from midfield by Dom. He's gonna bring them within 1, under 20 seconds left to go. The clear by Super, honestly not horrible. The difference is that someone just able to read that one at midfield. Will have the ensuing kickoff, a 1-goal deficit, a 1-game deficit in this series of 4, ball going in favor of the Wendigos. And Salty Bonner denying at midfield as we hit the 10 seconds and counting. Down the pass out to midfield. Salty and Nitro are both there. That one doesn't go. Salty back across. Dom is up. No boost. Gets a bump on the play. 0 second has to stay up. It hits the ground. The Wendigos will take game number 2. And HUD, they are now in a position where the worst case scenario is they split the series with 1 victory left. They will win the series. They look in a strong position to do it. The Hornets have done a great job of coming back towards the end of games. But where have they been in the first half? I mean, the Hornets really are that second half team. And so far, the second half has not been enough to get the dub.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the I'm looking at the stream, and it says that game was 3-3, and definitely didn't end 3-3.
No.
I think that the Hornets would have liked for it to at least get to 3-3, but the Wendigos have really kept the Hornets' opportunities to a minimum. But in that game number 2, they were outshot. I mean, Wendigos had, I think, 4 shots on target. It's still here on my screen. Yeah, 4 shots and 8 shots for the Hornets, but it's that quality of chances that the Wendigos really are taking advantage. They've found their opportunities and capitalized them. Only 1 shot not turning into a goal for the Wendigos. Meanwhile, the Hornets struggling. They're shooting 25%, which is very much lower than what we saw for them. But you know, we were remarking on how huge those shooting percentages were for the Hornets, and it's something that you kind of got to think about. Is that sustainable over the course of an entire season? And through 2 games, it has not been for the Hornets. So they've got more time. Series is only halfway over, so they've got an opportunity to be able to right the ship here. But as it has been going, the Wendigos really have had their number through 2 games.
Hey, not everything is going to work every single time. That's just a fact of life. And again, any given Monday or Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern time, whoever is going to be the team that shows up and makes it work is the team that will find themselves with victory. Super looking for the back pass, and Dom to cut it off. Now to Salty Bonner at midfield with a whopping 12 boosts, and I believe they may or may not have a dream. They try to pass it in front of the net. A grab will be the one to cut it off as we hit the first minute of play. Dom off the backboard, Super with the read up into the air. No one's up. Free ball here. Dom on the challenge. The drop is down in front. Now Salty looking for it. Booms it down. Left-hand side. Dom is up. Redirect opportunity. This one is on target. Super's going to be there to make the save. I think Dom probably wanted the pass on that play, HUD. Just didn't quite find it. But I like the shot opportunity. You got to get aggressive when you're already down 2-0 in a series.
Man, shooters shoot. Scorers score. That was an opportunity for Dom. He looked to try to maybe bend it into a pass. Maybe he would have been better off putting it on frame. Sometimes you need your elite shooters to do just that, and the feeling of needing to find that extra pass is something that you can see it in sports all over. You can see the best hockey players, the best basketball players opting to try to find a teammate rather than doing what they do best, and that is shooting and scoring. But still not able to break through is Dom. Nobody able to break through yet here in game number 3. Dent has that one turned aside by Dom, who's getting it done on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive. Not quite able to get back out for the Doomsy as the boost tank was empty. And approaching halftime, this is the longest we've gone in this series. Nobody's scoring a goal. And so far, Wendigo's taking it 2-0. They've scored first both times. So the trend currently is the team that scores first wins. But both these teams an opportunity here maybe to change that. Super, lots of time, lots of space. Slippery set not quite landing where he wanted it, so he couldn't generate a shot off of it as we cross halftime of game number 3. A great demo by Dom. Lots of space, but Super covers up well, clears it away, and now starts the transition on the counterattack. Nitro can't win the 50, popped high to the ceiling. Dom and A-Grab both there, but Dom is going to have the 50 out towards midfield. Nitro another win. Going to force Super back where he'll clear it into his own corner to safety. Dens there against Salty Bonner, and Dom eventually back in the corner. 2 minutes left on the clock. 0 goals on the board. A much different look of this series. Teams starting to really settle in and figure out what exactly they're seeing from their opponents.
Yeah, you know, HUD, you mentioned that this is the longest in this matchup between these 2 teams we haven't seen a goal. This is the longest we haven't seen a goal all evening. This is not just unique to this matchup. This is one of those situations where the night has been early goals, and we haven't seen any so far. 90 seconds left to go, and a good opportunity in front of the net there for the Wendigos. They don't find it. Dom comes in, makes a save on the shot by Dens. Now a transition moment here for the Hornets as Dom drops it down. A-Grab will take over one-on-one. There's the Octane flick, and saved by Salty Bonner, as cleared away by Nitro, and now Dens will collect in their own corner. They'll take it a face of their own net. A dangerous proposition there from Dens. They don't get punished for it yet, but Salty Bonner, Nitro, and the Hornets are ready to strike at the moment, and here comes Dom. Off the back wall, it's now out in front of Dens as they flick it over the top of one. Dens chasing it down, it's back up in front of the net. Nitro is there, 45 left to go. Agrab and Dom at midfield, drops it down. Dens collects, time still ticking down HUD. We haven't seen the goal yet. Salty Bonner's clear, make sure we don't see one for a few more seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the clock and nobody able to break through yet. Lots of shots for the Wendigos. Not quite able to find that one to find the back of the net. An opportunity here for Agrab, maybe to find that shot. He can't get back to it. Burned all of his boost to try to get something going. Just not quite able to get there. Dom with a 0 boost. Flick out over midfield. Will clear the lines momentarily with 10 seconds left on the clock. Overtime swiftly approaching here in game number 3. Dens all the way across the box. Nobody's going to be able to get on the end of that pass, and looking like it is going to be extras unless that one from Agrab goes in, but instead Dom is cleared to the side, and it'll be guided down. Overtime for the first time in this series, I think. Maybe
Yeah,
the second
first
time
time,
tonight,
first
or
time
the
the whole
time
evening.
tonight? Yeah, first time all night. I don't think we got one in the other ones. There was one that was close. Didn't quite get there in the previous matchup, but finally we get to see overtime, and if this is a series that I feel like this could be like a 7-minute overtime.
Yeah, and this, you know, a lot of times overtime is either done immediately or, as you mentioned, HUD, done in like 20 minutes. And there's just seemingly no in-between, especially when you've got teams that are playing each other as closely as these two are at the moment. Yes, the Wendigos do have a 2-0 series lead, and in a 4-game set here as we play in RSC, Wendigos are hoping to get this third game and get a guaranteed series win. Maybe move up on their opponent. Agrab trying to make sure that that happens. It doesn't right there. Dom's great 50 will go to the other side. We are just about 1 minute into this overtime play. It's Dom to Salty Bunner, denied by Dens, but it's going to bounce the wrong way. Super's touch, not looking pretty. It's going to be everybody for the Hornets on top of the ball, and at 1:02 they will get their first goal of the game. They will get their first series victory so far this evening. One more left to go, folks, and the Hornets are now looking to split things up on the great goal right at the end of the game, courtesy of Nitro and Salty Bonner.
I mean, if you're going to double commit, there is no better time to double commit than to find the game winner in overtime.
No,
I think that if you're
absolutely
going to go up with your teammate, you better put that ball in the back of the net, and the Hornets do just that finally, and they continue the trend of the team that scores first wins. So we know exactly who's going to win game number 4. Obviously, there's no way that will that obviously the script has already been written, but you guys can tell us if we are right or wrong. Prediction is currently up. Make sure you vote with your channel points who you think is going to win this game number 4. I don't think I could pick realistically. I think the Hornets, all indications point to them being able to take this one, but the Wendigos have looked so good over the course of this series, and with one game left, I couldn't confidently say, oh, I think the Hornets have got this. I think the Wendigos have been the better team over the course of this series. Obviously, the Hornets winning that one, but only by 1 goal in overtime, so it's still on a razor's edge. And I think the Wendigos just tip that scale a little bit, but I mean, it's not my call. It's these guys' call. So, you know, whoever scores first, obviously, the script's already there.
I mean, if I had to pick one, honestly, I'm kind of going with Wendigos here. I think, yes, the Hornets do get, you know, that one feel-good victory, if you will, but the series certainly has not looked in their favor. A 1-0 win in a 1-minute overtime. You know the Wendigos are going to come out striking early, and it's Super who shows that they are going to come out trying to strike early to start that offensive pressure immediately as we move on into game number 4, the last game of the evening for myself and HUD. Axe, this has been in the background the entire time doing the production. A big shout out to them and everyone who makes the RSC stream happen. The predictions are locked in at this point, folks. exactly. We got to make sure whatever you predicted happens. I know you want to win those channel points as much as possible, as most people do with Celtibonner one-on-one versus Super. There is a demo in the net, but a great job there by the Wendigos to make sure it does not go. Transition opportunity. Dens finds the net. Dom can't catch up. It's a 1-0 lead in favor of the Wendigos.
That's just that's a twos goal. If I've ever seen it, the twos goals here in the threes league. It is just a massive swing back the other way. It was a great look downfield for the Hornets, and instead of being able to find a goal, it is turned right around back the other way, just like you see in high-level twos. But the first goal has been scored. It's been scored by the Wendigos, so we can just pack it in. It's going to be an orange win here, but it is up to the Hornets to try to break that trend. And it is not going to be easy. It is going to be literally the opposite of easy. It's going to take a lot of work here for the Hornets. Saltibonner drops it down. Nitro can't get it around A-Grab, and Super there putting himself in the perfect spot for the 50. Another counterattack for Dens to the backboard. Salty can't get up. Dens up for the pass instead of the shot, and A-Grab's going to be there continuing to try to force the issue all the way through, and eventually the ball will bounce high. Nobody able to find that one. Another whiff, some whiffy action here in midfield. Love the whiffy action. Dens throws it to the backboard. Salty Bonner's got the clearance, and Wendigos continuing to pepper this backboard of the Hornets. No real opportunities downfield for the blue side. This ball's been hard stuck, just like me in Diamond this past season in the blue end. Season 7, I'm hoping maybe to get back to champ, but who knows? It is an opportunity for all of us to start fresh in Season 7, but Wendigos are really looking like they're just going to close this one out. The vice grip is tightening around the Hornets, and it is not looking like it's going to let up anytime soon.
Hey, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Lots of time here for the Hornets to make something happen if they are able to break this out of their own end. And Super with the 50 at midfield. Dens with the half rotation to cut that one off with 0 boost. Now Dom with the B. They look for a flick here. A-Grab a solid 50. Super over the top of Salty Butter. Now they're bringing this one back down the other way. Nitro is there. It's going to work out in an absolutely picture-perfect pitch into the corner off the backboard. Here's Nitro. It's a dead ball in front of the net. Dens is going to be there to make the quick save. Super now dunked by Dom, who is then dunked by A-Grab. As it comes to Salty Bonner, who has 0 boost to work with. Ball floating towards backboard. Out towards Super at midfield. Now A-Grab off their own back wall with some control. It drops down out towards midfield. Last game ended 1-0. Game number 4 in that 1-0 as well. Now we did have an overtime to get us to that 1-0 in game number 3. We've got 1-0 in regulation, HUD, with 90 seconds left to go. Dom looks for a pass. Dent says absolutely not.
Dens has really been the difference maker for Wendigos. They've been all over the pitch, really getting it done, leading this team to victory, and it's exactly what you expect from Dens as the GM. A great touch from A-Grab here to the backboard. Nitro's just going to score it on his own net. That has been the way this has gone for the Hornets, and the Wendigos have just really not given them any quarter. Nitro knows Dens is right there, and instead of letting Dens have another goal, Nitro's just going to smack it in.
Hey, you know, sometimes if you already know things aren't going in a way that you want, you just take away stat padding from somebody else. I can't really blame them there. There is like 0 good things that you can do. There's like a handful of hopeful things maybe that you could work for in that sort of a situation. And Den says, I don't care if you deny me the last goal. I'm going to score a 420 goal. I'm going to make this one happen. And a great pass here from A-Grab over the top of Nitro now gives a 3-goal lead to the Wendigos, who honestly, HUD, if you're asking me, have surprised me this evening. This has been a team who came out to play on stream and show that they do not deserve the record they currently have. And this is a swing that we can see really start to make a playoff push for this squad.
Yeah, I mean, if there is ever an opportunity to make your mark and really make a statement through this this back third of the season as we're really approaching this big crunch time as we approach the playoffs, especially up here in Elite where the competition is so stiff. Wendigos absolutely coming out and announcing themselves to the rest of the tier. Hornets are not there are no slouches, especially in the offense department, and this is the second time in this series they're going to get shut out.
Here we go with Dens gonna grab a quick hat-trick goal to assist themselves in padding the stats. As if they didn't have enough pads already, Dens has to make sure they get that goal. Now, we can see, HUD, that Super really wanted to come in and steal that one away. They're not going to get the opportunity, but this is just an overall fantastic victory for the Wendigos to make, again, that late playoff push. We're talking about teams that were reasonably evenly matched coming into this game. We see a solid performance there from Wendigos, showing that they deserve to be at this level, and just a ridiculous pop-off performance from Dens, from Agrav over the span of this entire series. Really just made it look like this was their game to lose, and they just refused to do it. They only lost one game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty dominant win, and I mean, even that one game for Wendigos that they dropped to Hornets was that overtime, the 1-0 overtime for the Hornets. So I think that Wendigos really put on a show here, and I think they've really put the rest of Elite on notice, or if they're not on notice, they should be now, because Wendigo's coming out, shutting down what I can't assume there's a better offensive team in Elite, because if there was a better offensive team in Elite, that just the numbers that they must have been putting up are astronomical. So I'm guessing off the top of my head that the Hornets probably one of the better, if not the best, striking team in Elite coming into this game, and the